It's Raj and Pablo, and we are privileged and honoured to be at one of Asia's most growing film festivals. It is JIO MAI, and we're joined. Well, I'm going to kind of do a wee little paraphrase. Behind every man, there's a successful woman, they say, or a formidable woman. Behind every successful film festival, there happens to be two formidable, dynamic women. It is, of course, ANUPAMA CHOPRA and Kiran Rao. Welcome to Raj and Pablo on the BBC.
Firstly, can we just say congratulations? We've been to most of the events so far. How you have the energy to start early in the morning, finish late, right through the day with the parties, the mingling,
the films, the curating, the talks,
so
the interviews with idiots like us.
So far, just tell us how's it going for you?
It's great. I mean, I just wish there were more films. You mentioned films, but Anu and I get to see practically nothing. We're just doing so much of the organization, the logistics, making sure things aren't falling apart, that filmmaking seems like a luxury to us. Anu and I were like, she's a critic, a journalist, I'm a filmmaker, and we just don't get to watch films. So we're thinking there has to be, the upside is watching this festival grow.
We've been to most of the events, you know, the In Conversations, the mingling, but you guys start right in the morning, goes right through the day. You must be exhausted, but so far, how has it been for you?
It's been great. I mean, I think for our second year at it, we're feeling a little bit like veterans now. We kind of know what's coming a little bit more, though the festival's bigger. But it's so rewarding. It's amazing. And today I got a text message early in the morning from a friend who said, it's so great to see children lining up to watch films on a Monday morning. It's so rewarding. It's great. It's all going well.
You know, this was the year, you know, that was announced and people have been talking about this is the end of film. You know, everybody will be watching films on tablets. What's the point of... Why has this festival gone from strength to strength?
You know, actually, it's amazing you should bring that up because in our sort of forward in the catalogue, in the festival catalogue, that's what we talked about, that this year, you know, it's a doomsday prediction that happens it's like cyclical, you know, it comes back every few years. It is the end of film, and lo and behold, film lives. Maybe not as film, being shot on film, but in many other ways. And I just think that there is no replacement for, first of all, the shared experience of watching a film on a big screen. There's no tablet in the world that's going to give you that. You know, with 300 people, you're watching this thing, and at a festival also, the fun of standing in those lines. I mean, yesterday, Kiran, I don't know if you saw pictures, there were salesmen.
Yeah, I was there.
300 people lined up.
And they were in the waiting list. They were in the queue. They knew they couldn't get in because the seats had been booked, but this was like for the, you know, last minute dropouts. There was a really huge queue and people all chanting that we are going to get in, and they were really happy to be there and standing in line.
So you know, when you see passion like that and you see enthusiasm like that, I don't think it's the end of film at all. And a festival also offers so much else. You know, the camaraderie, the energy, the conversations. I mean, yesterday at the Mela, we had a conversation with 5 directors. I mean, I was so proud to have a platform on which Rohit Shetty can sit on a stage with Vishal Bharadwaj, and they can talk about their process and their shooting styles, and everybody's equally valid and you know, and matters. And there were people hanging on to every word and taking selfies later, and I just felt like, wow, this is it then. This is why we do it. This is why we give up our lives.
Well, funny you should say that. I mean, you know, Raj mentioned before, like, I mean, you are the powerful force behind this. There's loads of other people involved, but how did you two get together? What happened to make you feel like, okay, we want to do this festival?
Well, Kiran was already on board.
All right, good.
So this is Anu's. Anu laid a trap for me. I was on the board a couple of months before. You know, the kind of. The festival had financial issues, and I had no idea because I'd just joined the board, never been to a board meeting. I had been told, oh, you just really need to turn up at the festival or whenever once a year. And suddenly, you know, the plug was being pulled out. So anyway, we got past that that year, which was 2014. And before I knew it, we were, you know, there was a handover of charge, and I was being proposed and seconded as chairperson, entirely set up by Ms. Chopra, who had masterminded it. So I have to say, I did not plan any of this. So the question has to go to ANUPAMA Chopra, who's actually the mastermind behind everything that's happening now.
Is this
Beneath
true?
that smile and twinkling eyes, there's a woman.
No, but listen, who better?
True. Very
Okay,
true.
who better? So it had to be, and she sort of squawked a protest. What? Huh?
No one can say no to Anu Chopra. I'm just putting it out there.
That's true. That is true.
Beware. Caution, everyone.
It's her smile and her giggle, then suddenly you're entranced, and that's it.
That's it. You can't do it.
No,
You
but
can't do it.
listen, I've always felt that the only way a festival can work, and we've seen this internationally, is if there are people who believe in film. You know, there are people who are passionate about film. It's just torturous to put this together. Okay, let's not pretend.
It's hard work.
To put it mildly,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, we don't have money, you don't have, you're chasing everything. So unless you feel really passionately, your commitment has to be of another level to cinema, not to yourself, not to your own personal agendas, not to your own glory, because believe me, there is none. It's a thankless job, but you believe that this matters, it has value for the city, it has value for the country, and there's not that many of us.
With India now becoming one of the leading industrial nations, one of the global superpowers, like America, global superpower, soft power. Is this what MAMI is about?
Because there's so
To
many
showcase.
international faces here. And we've noticed more than last year.
I mean, I think that's the job of all festivals, and not just festivals, art. I mean, at the end of the day, cinema is one of the arts that can genuinely change the way we look at each other, change, our perspective on life, on the world. And I think film festivals will always be important for that reason. Film will always be important for that reason. And, given the way the world is changing, I think it's even more urgent that we keep these spaces, for free expression, for people to come together, to be able to watch things from all over the world. And I think for us, as a country where actually other independent cinema doesn't otherwise release, where we don't get to watch films from other countries, it's really important to have this festival.
For us, there's a lot in this festival that we're amazed at. But one of the things, we met the Bhutanese delegation. From a Western perspective, Bhutan is this Disneyland, small country, and quaint. They have a film industry, and you guys have bought that here.
Yes.
How did that come
we've
about?
spoken to them quite a lot.
Yeah.
And we've been fascinated with what we found out. But how did that come about?
That's basically because Bhutan is one of my favorite places on the planet.
Were you on holiday there with your husband?
I've been going for more than 10 years. And we literally go back, and I say this to everyone, that if I could choose where I'm going to die, it would be Bhutan.
Wow.
So I've seen that film industry sort of stumble and grow, and they love Indian film. They love Hindi cinema especially. But their infrastructure isn't in place yet. And I just felt like if we have this festival happening here, and if we are within reach for them, we should invite them. And so I started a conversation with the Prime Minister, Mr. Shrink Tobgay, and he was very generous and sort of said, yes, I will enable this. We'll bring them down, you host, we'll split the cost, but we'll make this experience happen. And in fact, I just ran into one of them at the breakfast, and he was like, this has just opened our eyes, because we don't, you have very few theaters. Most of these films will never come there. It's almost all the films will never come there. They only have Indian films and Bhutanese films. So it's been an amazing experience for them. So I think if MAMI can also be a sort of thought leader.
Bless you.
Yes, bless you. A sort of thought leader in the region, where we can share this experience with film communities, not just India, but across. Maybe Sri Lankan filmmakers, Bhutanese filmmakers, Bangladeshi filmmakers would be fabulous.
And how do you decide other things? For example, when you go back in time, like you did Mr. India last year, you decided on Georgita Vohiskandar. How do you decide on what directors you want? Is there a process you go through?
Or films or choices? How do you
make those choices?
Or is it you two that have the final decision?
Well, actually, the sections are independently curated and programmed. We've got programmers for each and every section.
Right.
In fact, Anu and I don't get to watch anything. We don't really get a say, which we're planning to change next year, because it cannot be that we just don't watch any movies that program at the festival. But for Movie Mela, which is Anu's passion project, she, I think, has sat and actually planned every single event at the Mela.
It's me and Kalpana Nair, Smriti Kiran, and Rajiv Masand.
Yes,
My partner in crime is
Yeah.
really Rajiv Masand. And the two of us sit and we kind of figure out, like, which reunion, which directors. Because our whole thing is, let's make it a fan event.
So just talk us through the process then. Why Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar this time?
Because we really, so it's
25 years of the film, isn't it?
next year.
Oh,
It's 25 years next year.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
24 this year. But it's very hard to find a film that is of course timeless, but timeless for generations now. My fear is always I'll pick a film that I love and nobody else cares about. So those are tough films to
Well,
pick.
we heard 18-year-olds talking about the movie, saying they can relate to the movie.
Absolutely.
I mean, the whole point about that is that, not only how do you come like Mumbai, Bollywood, glamour, the whole shebang, the whole kit and caboodle, that's what people see. But bringing both structures together, how does that balance out?
Well, it's we've had quite a lot of flack for trying to get Bollywood,
Indeed.
Hindi, the
Yes.
film industry integrated, and Anu has a great answer for that actually. So I'll let her give it. But in essence, we invite them. I think we feel like they are very much part of the filmmaking community. It's so relevant. We're a Mumbai film
Yes.
festival, and the industry lives here, and it would be not just foolish but churlish not to have the industry involved. And it's great that youngsters and the older senior people from the fraternity alike have all stepped up and supported us. But the question of why Bollywood, Anu particularly answers well.
No, but look at the two of us, okay? So my passion project is the Mela. Her passion project is the new medium, which is about film seeing film in a more experimental way, seeing the film form rather than narrative and drama, which is what I am so passionate about. So this is the extreme, and her joke, of course, is that just don't tell people you love Gunde.
Oh dear.
So, but what we want to create is a platform that is inclusive, because truly in this day and age there is no difference between mainstream, art house.
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah.
It's a spectrum, and sure, there'll be some movies that are more accessible, some movies that are more difficult and demanding, but we need to have a place that has everyone.
In terms of the world we live in at the moment, and the media and the attention, do you think it's important to have the industry backing in terms of the big names of some of the big actors?
No, absolutely. To get Mr. Bachchan and Amir Khan and all the other actors who came, everybody, it's absolutely essential. You need the eyeballs.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a privately funded festival.
Indeed.
It's a very expensive festival. Someone's got to write that check, okay? And we need eyeballs, and I don't see any problem with it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we're compromising here. It's not that, oh my God, so we have to do this because somebody has to pay. No, I'm very proud of the Hindi film industry, and why would we not engage with them?
And Kim, from your perspective, in the sense of vertical media, what does that mean?
The new
New
medium.
medium.
The new medium was actually, we tried a couple of years ago before we were involved with the festival to have experimental film as a vertical, but it didn't quite work. And even last year, I did a smaller version of this called Experiments in Film Form with two other curators who did a lovely job, but it just didn't quite connect with people. And I think it's because there's this genuine fear and I suppose lack of understanding of what it means and that it could at all be engaging if there's no actors and stars and the traditional formulaic film that we're used to watching. So this year, the curator Shaina Anand and I worked on this section to kind of give it a new perspective, to look at cinema in a different way, which is why it's called the new medium, because cinema is the youngest art.
Wow.
It's the seventh. It's called the seventh art out of all the other 6 arts are hundreds and thousands of years old. Painting, sculpture, architecture, music. And cinema is just 120 years old. So we are a really young art form. And actually, this section looks at cinema, across the history of cinema, and looks at important moments that sort of changed cinema in some way, or were experiments in the making of cinema, like she said, in form or in collaborative filmmaking.
Right, okay.
So it's actually something that for a person who's interested in film outside of just going in and watching it, it's going to open up your eyes to another way of looking, another way of seeing film. So that was the attempt. It's sort of expanded cinema. We have a piece by Liz Rhodes, who's a
Yes, indeed.
very famous British artist. And for that, we are transforming a cinema theatre into a, gallery where there are two 16mm projections.
Oh, wow.
And it's going to be quite amazing. We had a Ukrainian jazz band play with
Right.
Man with a Movie Camera,
Yes.
which was truly transformative. I've never, I've seen silent cinema with live music before, but it
Indeed.
was completely changed your experience of it, because actually cinema and jazz are roughly the
the
same
same,
age.
yeah, exactly.
So it was actually quite wonderful. That's the idea of new medium, to make you look at cinema afresh.
And with reference to the festival, how do you see it developing next year?
And have you already started thinking about budgets? I mean, when do you do that?
I think for next year, we tried a lot of new things this year. Every year it's something new. So what we will do is, literally after the event itself, we take stock, but we will take stock. And the idea is to, of course, keep the sections that we've created going, often expanding them and making them bigger. Like Half Ticket, we've now opened up to public on certain days,
Yes.
which was the children's section and things like that. But also, of course, working on what went wrong this year, any things that we need to tweak because they didn't quite work, and things like that. There's no giant shifts in our planning. I think we've now kind of got ourselves on a course. We've got ourselves on a track, in a sense.
And the platform's
so
set,
really the
yeah.
idea is to consolidate and to strengthen, rather than, we naturally have some sort of bizarre ambition. Anu, of course, would ideally like to take over the world. I think if left to her, I would
Yes.
be so happy if she could. So I never rein her in. She's the natural nation builder, so she does that. And we're all playing our part, supporting her.
Wow.
No, I think we have to scale up, and we have to be more ambitious while getting the piece that we're doing right.
Indeed.
We don't want to spread so much, and truly, I think it would be a big gap if we didn't say here that it's the team. The festival creative director Smriti Kiran is a formidable.
Right down to the people who look after it when we arrive.
To the hospitality
exactly.
kids, to the volunteers who wear those T-shirts. Can I help you? So we are sitting here, but really it takes a village to make a film festival.
Yeah.
And each one of them has come and hit the mark so well. And so we want to build on that. We want to create a team that stays with the festival, grows with the festival, and and of course scale up. I mean, ideally, I would love to see parts of Mami in other cities, and make it available in some way to, because the films we have here and what we've got, what we've created should be shared. I mean, it has to be an experience that more people can partake in.
One thing that me and Pablo have noticed, from going to other festivals like Venice or Cannes or Toronto, the audiences, the kids, the people, there is such a passion for movies here.
There's a
And the
certain love
festival,
you feel here.
There's a love for movies, and that has really surprised me. That isn't there on those other festivals.
Yeah, I think it's also because we genuinely don't have access to this kind of big screen experience of watching a film that we really want to watch in the best possible circumstances, without any editing, without any censorship, etc. So for us, there's a particular passion and zeal, to get to the cinema, and I think because we have we don't have art house or specialty cinemas in India. There's a certain lack of, I think. It's not passé. We're not cynical and blasé about it. It's new for us. It's great, the chance to be able to go out for that 1 week and watch this stuff. I mean, for instance, in the UK, you'd be able to go out every week.
Yeah.
So there's a sense of, you're past the excitement of it. But
Well,
here there's
we
a
kind of
genuine...
said that we were talking about this, and we kind of felt like Mami's really, you get a sense of open-heartedness here.
Yeah.
And that's generally how we feel, and we feel like we're looking around thinking, hold on, we think everyone's feeling like that, and you feel the love.
But I have to tell you this, my Hindi is very tutti-frutti, right? This was yesterday, wasn't it? We were in a cab going to Movie Mela, and the cabbie was like, मैं वो film festival के लिए आए हैं. And he goes, and we were telling him the cast of You Are Sunday.
You Are My Sunday.
You Are My
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah.
हाँ वो फुटबॉल की फिल्म है हाँ मैं देखने जाऊंगा yeah and this is from a cabbie and this is the level that you're connecting with the city
Amazing.
which
That's
is wonderful
Fabulous story.
and which is a wonderful story but that's from people who are aware of film people who go to Bollywood this festival is
And he knew exactly where to drop us
Where to
because
drop
he had
us.
heard all about the festival.
and that is a landmark for
That's
us
fantastic.
But
That's so heartening.
Can we just say thank you very, very much?
Thank
It's been a
And
pleasure.
do you
Thank
always
you to
call-
the two of you because you always come and support us. It's
Yeah,
just so great.
thank you.
Oh,
We feel
enjoy
so-
it.
yeah,
But
we feel
we feel
really
like we're
touched.
part of the family,
Family
so it'd be
now.
wrong
You
for
are
us
very
not to be
much,
here.
yeah.
and we'll get coordinated as well because you always do
This is ESP, I'm telling you, Anu Chopra. It's almost like we're not thinking, and literally we've turned up in the same colors almost every day.
yes
It's crazy.
it's Raj and Pablo at JIO MAI and there'll be more from us during the week.